What defines a high-quality, out-of-school time arts program? And what does it take to engage urban, low-income youth in these programs when there are so many other options? The Wallace Foundation set out to answer both questions. They explore the issues in depth with experts, including urban youth and their families, researchers, academics, and the staffs of some of the nation's best arts programs. The research identified 10 principles for effective, high-quality programs. This video highlights how some of those principles are part of 826's formula for success.
The creative, fun, high-energy learning combined with what we have learned and proven works over time, which is one-on-one support. So those two things together allow students to feel excited, feel comfortable, feel welcome. They can express their voices, they can build confidence, but they're also getting a really valuable learning experience that translates not just into creative writing, but through all of their educational experiences because they're working side by side with someone who's focused only on them.
From minute one, we lay that expectation on them that they are writers and that we're here to write and we're going to do a writing project. And I think it sets the tone of a very high expectation. It also helps set the tone for the caliber of the publication that we're going to produce. And in the end, we work our hardest to honor that commitment and to honor that, promise and that hard work that that student is putting in.
Every single center has a unique storefront. So you pass through this space that is, in a good way, a little bit disorienting. It doesn't feel like a typical tutoring center. There's never a point where when you walk in the building, it feels punitive or like you're there because you haven't been able to complete your homework during the day. You walk through this funny, engaging, inviting space. And then in some of our centers, you pass through a secret bookcase, or you might go through a teleporter at our Seattle space supply store. So you move through some sort of a door front or a gateway. Here at the pirate supply store, you move through a rope that enters you into the hull of a ship, basically, and then you sit down. The after-school tutoring space is just like this. You're seated at a dining room table, and you're in a dining room chair, and you're shoulder to shoulder in this warm library space that has all the resources you'd need in a classroom, but feels more like a living room. Even our computer labs are warm and inviting.
They're coming to a workshop from inside something that looks like, a giant robot store or a spy store. And so they're really excited to be here and be a part of something that's creative and crazy and different.
The students who come to our after-school program own this place. They come here every day. They know that it's a safe place. They know that it's a place that is not like their classroom, that's not like their home, and they know that there are a ton of adults here, whether they're staff members or volunteers, who are excited to see them and are completely devoted to what the student is working on here today.
No matter what we do, there's always some kind of product that results in the work that the students do. CDs, movies, music, books, there's always a writing aspect to it, but there will always be a product. I think that's a large part of why the students are engaged and stay engaged.
All of our educational opportunities are project-based, and what that means is creating a newspaper, a book, a chapbook, a podcast, a song, something at the end of the project. So when the students are putting down their pencils, they have a finished project that they can show off to their family and friends. I think that idea is extremely exportable.
If there is, for instance, a newspaper, that student would pitch a story, something that's meaningful to them, and then they would have a mentor who's a journalist who could help them to very deeply, in an apprenticeship style, figure out how to talk about that topic. So if they wanted to write a fashion blog, for instance, or a column for a newspaper on sports, they may work with a sportscaster and then learn the actuality of what needs to be produced. And for a fashion blog, they might find out, how do you stay of the moment? How do you not talk about a trend that is passing? How do you forecast? So there's this opportunity to dialogue with someone very real who shows interest in you.
We treat them as writers because they are writers. By designing our publications to look really beautiful and to look just like a newspaper that they can pick up off a stand. So if a student walks in for a newspaper workshop, we tell them that they're journalists and that when they do an interview, they're calling and they're saying that they're a newspaper writer from the Everett Middle School newspaper, Straight Up News, and they're here to interview them.
If you can say, this semester we're going to work really hard, you're going to have, you're going to write more than you've ever had to write, and at the end of the semester you're going to have a magazine that looks like this, that the whole school is going to read, and it's your chance to share your opinions, and you will walk away with one of these in your hands. All of a sudden, it becomes less about the work. It's still certainly about the process, right? But it becomes less about the work and more about, like, why are we doing this? Oh, because of this. Working toward that end product makes the process itself clearer.
And then all of a sudden they have this beautiful book in their hands and they're standing and they're reading in front of a crowd of peers and family, and they can look themselves up on Amazon.com and find their book on the internet. And that is a really powerful transcendence of the work and something that feels very meaningful.
We get a lot of stories from our students that come back, 5 years later that say that they still have this book that they created, on a field trip, on their bookshelf, and, they still look at it and love it. That goes back to the idea that, a good project-based learning project is also, turning the student into something that they weren't before. So for our students, they're published authors at the end.
We keep a very open dialogue with the students. Some of them walk in here and they do kind of run the place, but they walk in and they'll just come down to the office and say, hey, I have an idea for a workshop. You should really do a claymation workshop. And we'll just sort of think it through and make sure that we can do it and then say, all right, well, what should we call the workshop? They're actually participating in the process of creating a program. And they're participating in recruiting other students and getting everyone excited about the program. To a fault, almost, we say yes more often than we say no. And we're willing to stand behind that yes as often as possible.
The other day someone found out that he was really excited about green screens and this idea that you can stand in front of a green screen and you can be anywhere. So that's a perfect lesson, that's a perfect workshop, that's a perfect opportunity, not just for that one student, but there's probably 11 other students that are excited about green screens, and you can find someone that knows something about green screens, set one up and teach a workshop about it. We've just found over the years that we weren't involving the parents as much as we should, and they have so many important things that they bring to the program as far as stability and excitement and volunteer time and things that they can offer us. And so it was really unwise to not take advantage of that in the past. All of our after-school tutoring spaces have a space where the parents can sit and they can wait and they can watch what's going on. They can jump in and they can help with snack. They can help with different parts of the program when they feel comfortable. We also use a lot of informal systems as far as we check in informally with the teachers that we're serving. We check in with the parents that we're serving. We also have kind of more structured advisory boards. A lot of our chapters have both youth advisory boards and parental advisory boards in which the students and the parents that we're serving can chime in on the programs and give us real awesome feedback on what we're doing and what we're doing well. And so we're just always trying to ask out, make sure that what we're doing is what the community is actually needing, and refine the programs if we find that there's not a fit there. You never want to be in the situation in which you're serving upon a community. You want to be serving that community, and serving a community means listening to the needs and answering that need, not coming in with a set idea of what that community needs and setting up shop.